Hey, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. And hopefully the internet is working. So I am going to do the usual thing and I'm going to keep saying hello and keep talking. And if any of you can see that I'm online, let me know and type a comment down below and say hello and that you can hear me. And that will allow us to get set up. So I'm going to give it a minute and let all of this do its thing and start. So
Oh, are we live? Sorry.
it's all right. Right. It is now public. Finally. Okay, so I'm going to wait and I'm going to see if anybody comes on. Bearing in mind that I set my live stream to private. Dwayne has arrived. It's working now. Hi, Dwayne. How's it going? Okay, everybody. So hopefully you can, one, see this, and two, hear this. So while we're all getting set up and everybody's starting to arrive, if you can do me a favor and just type a message and say hello and make sure and let me know that you can hear me, then I know that everything's good. And while I'm waiting for you to do that, I am going to tell you why this has started 5 minutes late. And that's because I haven't set that many live chats up before. And when I did this evening, I had it all set up, beautifully done. I announced it on social media and I logged in at 8 o'clock and there was nobody there. And I had a total panic and ended up saying to my other guest this evening that I don't know, there's nobody here. There's nobody here. Why is nobody here? And I was told to check, had I set it to private? And I had. I'd set it to private. So welcome. Thank you to everybody that's joining. So I'm going to quickly run down through the list. Dwayne, hello. Tony, thank you for joining me, and the same to you, JB. This is great that you're both here. So for everybody that's watching this evening, a big thanks goes to both Tony and JB. You'll see that there's Tony's Gardens and Gizmos, and naturally JB. They are moderating for us this evening to make sure that everything ticks along nicely. They can send links for us and they can just make sure that the chat stays nice and enjoyable for the evening. Nicola, good evening. James, hello from Seattle. Oh, fantastic. So James, it must be just after lunchtime with you. David Nicholson, you're in Houston, so you'll be another hour behind that, I think. So hello. Blue Self-Reliance, hello. Kathy, you can, hello. Nova Bloom, Rebecca from Mornings at the Allotment, Robin from Robin's Container Garden. This is brilliant. Hello, everybody. And Gail has made it. Hi, Gail. Gail's in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Kate in the Netherlands. Brilliant. Ultimate Gardening, hello. And Leela, hello, 3:06 p.m. here in Virginia. This is fantastic. So we're already getting quite a lot of people from all over the place. So for the chat, if other people pop in and I miss saying hello, apologies. It's just that I've missed it. But I have someone that's going to be able to keep an eye on the chat for me.
Sorry, terrible queuing there. Hello. Hey. Chair straight a bit. That's it.
There we are. It is Liz.
Can we tip it?
We can.
A tiny bit so we don't see my awful ceiling.
Were we looking at the ceiling?
No, well, I might have been. Hello. Right, so glasses on. Let's have a look at the chat. So, people are saying hello.
Mm-hmm. There's a whole load of people already here. So
fabulous.
If you've been following my social media stuff over the last day or two, you'll know that I'm at Byther Farm with Liz because we met in person in November. I came over to stay. Yeah. And pretty much since then, we've been making plans for the next time that I would come over. So I did. So I came over yesterday and I'm here until the end of the week. And I thought
He's been working non-stop since he's been here.
Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of work.
It's been great.
It actually has been great. And what's been lovely is we've got the weather for it as well. It's just been fantastic. So I thought it would be really nice for us to do a live chat here because I try and do a live chat every month. And I thought that rather than being here and missing the opportunity and going home, it would be really good to do one now.
Yeah, no, it's lovely.
Yeah. So I'm going to very quickly catch up. Because
so while you're catching up, I'm just going to say, I would like everybody to notice that the backdrop here includes the very, very smart house plant. It's the only house plant in our house. Because there is another spider plant, but that's the only one that's is proud enough to show itself.
This is in honor of my usual backdrop, which is absolutely covered in plants. I tried to convince Liz to paint the whole background black, but she said I wasn't allowed. Try and turn it into my place. Jane, hello. That's so nice that you've joined in. Ian, hello. Bloom in Greece, hello. And Fraser's girl, hello. Hello, everybody.
Pam says you can come and do mine offers if you like.
Okay. I charge very reasonable rates, except Liz hasn't received the invoice yet.
Hey.
Yeah, 30-day terms.
So we've played a bit yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We did a quick trip out and about yesterday, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And then you caught up with things like the ducklings.
Yes. Yeah.
Who are now, what are we looking at? 5-6 weeks old.
Yeah.
So since Monday, poultry in the UK has allowed to be out again. So where they are out of avian flu lockdown. So we've had the ducks really, really enjoying being out.
Yeah, and it's been a long time because what I realized when I got here was that when I came to stay last November was when that started to kick in and we were prepping for them to go in. So they've been in for that whole time. So they're delighted being out. Yeah. It's great. And it's been lovely to meet the ducklings as well. They're fantastic. Though they're big, they're not tiny.
The ducks have been sunbathing, haven't they, in the veg garden?
Yeah, they have actually.
So that's been really good.
Yeah.
So Nicola's saying my chickens and ducks are really enjoying being out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would say so. And even just having that space and fresh air, it's what they want. So no, that's brilliant. So what I'm going to ask everybody is, when you're writing a question, if you can write it in uppercase, that would be fantastic. Don't worry, we know you're not shouting, but it means that my eyesight can spot it easier.
So JB just said, are my tomato plants still house plants at the moment? Yes. So over my shoulder there, you can see a few pathetic little ones. I took the first batch out to the polytunnel a couple of days ago. I've planted one tomato plant in my polytunnel.
Yeah.
So there is one growing. And then, the windowsills are still full of them.
Yeah. But confession time, mine are basically houseplants as well. They're sitting in the conservatory at the back of the house, and I had planned on getting them planted before I came over, and that didn't happen. So I'm heading back on Saturday. So I think that's going to be one of the first jobs to get done, because mine have grown. I got them in a bit sooner than you, and mine are probably nearly a foot high, but they're in quite small pots. So the rush is
Have you seen the
on.
ones over there?
Yeah.
They are now kind of at least a foot high
Yeah.
and leaning over. So,
we're looking at another window
so
full of tomato
James
plants.
is saying duck eggs make the best custard stroke ice cream. Yes, good for
Ooh,
cakes.
Yeah.
Good for everything.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. JB's saying that his are still houseplants as well.
So Dwayne says, I read that you guys relocated the farm. So that would be me, probably. Yes. Yes, we moved in June, at the end of June last year. And so I'm back to square one of building a homestead from scratch. And it will take time, but we're getting there. So I've done all right. Do you want to share what you thought? How different was it from now to when you came 5 months ago?
So I find it fascinating, because I came over 5 months ago. So at that point, you'd only been living here for about 5 months, and already a huge amount had got changed. But to see the difference between November and now is staggering. So the food forest had gone in, but wasn't fully planted.
Yeah.
The big polytunnel was up,
but only just.
And that was pretty much it. So what there is now is the food forest is done. The veg garden in front of the polytunnel
is almost done, almost complete.
Thank
you for your help with that.
Oh, that's right.
We've had lots of moving compost and
Yeah.
filling beds and
yeah, there's a theme to when I come stay. It normally involves a wheelbarrow.
I think that's the same for everybody.
Oh yeah,
I don't save it just for you.
But actually, we've got another 2 raised beds filled and netted, because they're not planted yet. But it means that they won't get attacked by the ducks or anything.
Because
we've got them all sorted. Yeah. But to see the difference. Actually, the difference is twofold. So for starters, seeing the difference between winter and late spring is amazing. But also to see the amount that's been done in such a short time is it's something else. If I could achieve that much.
Put in water channels. I've planted
your hedge of raspberries.
The raspberries have gone in. So the hedging's all gone round. So I've put in about it's over half a mile of hedging has gone in. The orchard has been planted. 2 ponds have been created. So it hasn't been too bad, given that it's been winter. And I grind to a halt in the winter. So.
And I think you would all agree that is some pretty serious progress. I think that's really,
it's coming.
It is. It's really something else. Good on you.
Thank you. Right, so let's have a little look.
So Carl Smith was asking, courgettes, try growing them up a frame or let them sprawl. So I know from my experience, I've always just let them sprawl, and they've been absolutely fine. And actually, have you done differently?
I've done both.
Yeah.
So I've let them sprawl, and they've been great. Last year, I grew ones that are actually climbing.
Okay, yeah.
So it was the yellow climbing ones. I wasn't that impressed with them.
Yeah.
I would rather take an ordinary courgette and guide that up a hill.
Yes.
Or the thing I'd probably guide it up would be 2 pallets put into next to each other and just maybe strapped at the top.
Yeah.
With a bit of baling twine or string or something,
Yeah.
and then just let it climb up, so it's not too steep for it to go up.
And certainly my experience has been, anytime I've grown courgette plants, they're quite stocky. So although obviously as they put on a couple more leaves and some more fruit, they start to get a bit longer. Even by the end of the season, they haven't got so long that they need to be grown up anything. I tend to just let them naturally sit over.
Polytunnel?
So I have never grown them in the polytunnel. I've only ever grown them in raised beds.
So try growing them near the door of the polytunnel so that they can grow out of the door, because the extra warmth means you will then get like 3 or 4 foot long So that also, I think it was Kate was asking, had we grown them in compost or in leaf mold? So have you grown them just like in a compost heap?
No, so I've only ever grown them in like a raised bed that's been filled with topsoil compost mix, or I've grown them in a container with compost, but I've never grown them in a leaf mold heap. But so that gives me two things I need to think about trying now, because I have a really big leaf mold heap. I always do. And I can try the polytunnel.
Yeah.
See, I came onto the live chat and I'm getting more work to do when I go home.
Yes.
But this is good. This is really good. This is great. Now, excuse me, folks. I'm going to take a minute because I need to have a look down the live chat to make sure that I'm not missing things. So Jappy is saying, hi guys, how you doing? Hello. Nicola's saying her tomatoes are only an inch high. That's all right. You're still like, they'll absolutely catch up.
Hello, Molly. So I'm also reading. So today, let me tell you about today. Niall and I have worked in the garden pretty much the whole day, haven't we?
We have. Yeah. Today has been a busy day.
It's been busy, but we haven't gone hell for leather.
No,
we've paced ourselves, and we've done. I think the thing that we've done most of all today is laugh.
Yes.
There's been a lot of laughter. It's been nice. It's
been really good. But today's been a really nice positive day because it's been planting, and that's probably one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, and it's been planting ornamentals.
Yes.
So it's been really good.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say where we've been planting?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. I was just making sure that it wasn't secret.
No, not secret at all. I've shown that area. I've said that's what I'm kind of wanting to be doing. So no, not a secret at all.
So we've been working in Liz's. It's going to be your cutting garden.
Yeah, so it's the cut flower field, and it's the wrong way around really. It's a cut flower garden and then a prairie style field.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound right. So cut flower field and prairie style garden.
Prairie style garden.
Yeah.
Like it. And that's where we've been working today, because Liz has literally hundreds of plants that you've been bringing on in the polytunnel or outside in pots, but they now need to get into the ground. But as you'll know, it's a big area. So what we've started doing is getting some of the plants in, getting clumps and drifts in.
What we should have done, if we were doing it properly, I would have cleared areas. I would have laid down all the pathways. We would have created beds, cleared it of all the weeds, and just planted into bare soil.
Yeah.
But that goes against the grain of working with all those wildflowers and it actually kind of already being kind of a prairie.
Yes.
So what we're actually doing is just making a hole in amongst all the weeds. I mean, so many buttercups.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to look amazing when they all come out. So we're making holes in between the weeds, planting into those. And then I'm going to try and make sure I just keep mowing around those areas, just to keep the weeds down around those plants that will stop them having quite so much competition. But then all the rest of the area is just going to be allowed to, it's not even just going to be no mow May, it's just going to be no mow.
Yes.
No mow chaos.
No mow year. It's been lovely. We've planted some really lovely things that are just going to look brilliant once they grow. Everything's obviously small. We've planted a huge drift of miscanthus grass.
Yeah.
Dotted through red chief.
Autumn something.
Red chief is the one that I've got at home.
Autumn something.
Yeah.
Summer autumn. No.
Autumn flame.
No. Yes. Can't remember.
So Liz and I, this is actually something I've never really talked about. Liz and I have very similar taste when it comes to ornamental plants. So we love grasses that can be planted in prairie style, and we love that loose, like modern perennial movement style planting. So it's been quite handy because I've been knowing what we're planting, and we've been comparing notes, and we do a very similar style.
Yeah. So, and we've got in masses and masses of hemerocolis.
Irises,
and I can't think what else we put in.
Several drifts of those. We planted some Stipa gigantea.
Yeah, and then another grass that's Beth Chatto's garden.
Yep,
the name of which I can't remember.
Ampelloides,
Something
something like that. Yeah.
So there was another grass as well.
Yeah.
More grasses.
Yeah, and it's really coming together. And if you keep an eye on my channel, big plug, you might see a little bit of it at some point in the near future. Keep an eye out. So I'm going to have another quick look. I always need to apologize because I'm always ending up looking across. But hello, Leslie. I didn't get a chance to say hello to Leslie yet. And Louise is saying to you, well done, Liz.
Thank you.
And Lynn Monsell, hi Lynn. You're over in Australia. So we have people across all time zones at the minute. And Christiane is in Germany.
Okay, I'm going to completely frazzle you now.
Oh no.
There you go. That just makes it a little bit bigger, a little bit clearer, a bit closer to you. How's that?
This is going to be tricky, but I can work on this. We're changing screen settings. Oh, Peggy Hebling's here.
Hi, Peggy.
Peggy is in Florida.
Right.
Yeah, and she's saying it's really nice to see us both on screen. So that's all. More hellos. So catching up with some of the questions. Actually, Mahmood has asked a question. Can you share some tips on a successful strawberry crop? So, I mean, the way I grow strawberries is that I grow them in the polytunnel. I generally don't grow them outside. And for me, the big thing is stay on top of them, give them enough space to grow, don't let them get too cramped. And there is that thing, generally you would be thinking about a 3-year cycle in terms of their productivity. Once they hit 3 years, the productivity does go down.
Year 4, it goes down dramatically.
It does. So I would always be looking at, so I have mine planted in like a matrix. And what I'm always looking at doing is lifting out the oldest ones and pinning in new runners so that you have an ongoing cycle. That's the biggest tip that I would have. And if plug for my video, and hopefully one of my kind moderators will find it for me. Last September, I did a video about how to propagate your strawberries from runners, whether you want to do them in pots or straight into the soil. So we'll leave a link in the chat for you and you can have a look at that and hopefully that'll help you. Because actually they are easy, but the big thing is think about that 3-year cycle. So
I think the other thing I do is I don't plant them too deeply.
That's a good point. I hope you heard that. So Liz is saying her recommendation would be to not plant them too deeply. So I would agree with that. Molly has asked, and I'm guessing, Molly, this is a question specifically for Liz, but I'm going to answer it as well because I've got a slightly different take on it. So Molly's asking, what was the hardest part of starting on a new piece of land? And the reason I'm going to ask that or answer that as well is because I started in a garden that was new to me and I had different challenges and similar challenges, I think. But the difference for me is the biggest challenge I had was being able to put my stamp on it while still honoring the work that had been done by the previous owners, because they had done a beautiful job over decades creating a garden with character, but there were changes I wanted to make, and trying to make those changes in a nice way without just decimating. But it's funny, having a blank piece of land can sometimes be easier.
Oh, it is. It's much easier.
Rather than trying to shoehorn in to what you have. Yeah.
So Molly, I'm actually not going to answer that question right now because my video this week, which I'm just finishing editing, is all about setting up a new garden from scratch and our expectations and that sort of, so actually I'll answer that question in a 10-minute video.
Brilliant.
Sorry, that doesn't help you right now.
And Tony's been very kind. I'm going to back it up with, if you're enjoying this, I'm going to, a bit of a plug. Can you hit the like button and give this live chat a like?
There's a little fly flying around.
If you can give it a like, it really helps telling YouTube that the stuff I'm making is working for you guys. So Sweet Escape.
Sooner or later.
Yeah.
It's on. Is it there?
Oh, she nearly got it.
Oh.
So Sweet Escape Soap. Hi from County Tyrone. First time catch you live. Oh, brilliant.
Oh.
I'm originally from not a million miles away from you. I'm in County Down, which is kind of near and far. PA Farm Boys here. Hello from Pennsylvania. Brilliant. Okay, Louise Devoy. Do the flowers on cucumber plants need pollinated? So they do need pollinated.
They do need to be pollinated.
But the question is whether Louise is saying, do they pollinate? Do they get pollinated by pollinators, or is it something that you need to do it yourself?
We don't need to do it.
No.
Bees, wasps, flying things will do that for you. The only time that I would say you need to do that is if you are then trying to collect the seed for a true seed, rather than anything that could possibly be cross-pollinated, and then you'd want to be putting it into some sort of container, like a netting sack or something, and go in and hand pollinate it so that you knew it was true to variety. But that's quite a specialised thing to do.
Yeah.
So generally, no, they will just do their own thing. For you.
I have grown cucumbers for years, and I've never specifically pollinated them. They've looked after themselves. And
as time goes on, and there are fewer and fewer pollinators,
it may be something we need to think about. Yeah. The one thing that I would put one caveat, which is if you're growing your cucumbers under cover like I do, make sure that there's actually sufficient opportunity for the pollinators to get in, because it is surprising, particularly if you have a greenhouse and you don't leave the door open, how the through flow of pollinators can actually be quite low. So I would make sure that they have the option.
So I'm about to make a second set of doors to go on the polytunnel that will be covered in butterfly netting. So it will allow smaller pollinators to go through. So bees, wasps, flying things can get in, but butterflies can't, because I'm going to be growing some brassicas in there.
Okay.
And as there's almost nothing else as yet, but for cabbage whites to lay their eggs on, they're going to have a field day if I don't block it off. So, but yeah, so I'm still allowing airflow and pollinators to get in. There we go. There's other questions there. Hello from Hertfordshire.
Oh, hello, garden fairy godmother. And actually, that's Louise is just clarifying. She says she means that the cucumbers are on her kitchen windowsill.
Okay. If you're going to carry on growing them on your kitchen windowsill for the foreseeable, then yes, or open your kitchen window to allow pollinators in.
Yeah.
So, well, Tony's saying certain types of cucumbers produce only female flowers and are self-fertile.
Oh, there you go.
So that's cool.
Yeah. And Gail is saying my cucumbers produce male flowers and no female flowers. What am I doing wrong?
So usually male flowers come first, don't they? There's always a kind of, it seems to me that they produce for quite a long time before you start getting the female flowers. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if anybody else has any questions, start typing your questions in. And while you're typing the questions, I am going to tell you about what else we're getting up to, because tomorrow we are going to the RHS Spring Show at Malvern, which is really exciting.
It is really exciting.
Because I've never been. And I went 1 year to the Chelsea Flower Show a very long time ago, but I've never been to Malvern. And Malvern is actually very close to where I went to Horticulture College years ago, back in 2003, 2004. So it's going to be really nice to revisit that area and see what's going to be on show this year. And I've always heard that Malvern has a really nice atmosphere and a really nice vibe. So it's going to be, there is a different atmosphere.
For the first time, there's an RHS garden at the Malvern show.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing the RHS garden and hopefully meeting up with other like-minded people and enjoying it. So if you happen to be on this chat and you're going to be at the Malvern show tomorrow, keep an eye out for myself and Liz, and come and harass us in a very nice way and come and say hello.
Hang on, I'm going to move the chair.
There is also a reveal, because Liz, we are going to be prepared. So I am sure if you have been to a garden show yourself, you know that you want to buy a lot of plants. Well, Liz is coming prepared for this. I think we might need to listen.
Bought a trolley. Liz has bought a granny push-along trolley. I love it.
She is absolutely delighted. So that's going to keep us well stocked with everything we need. Now, Tony has just said, a granny trolley.
A granny trolley, yes. I am a granny.
Yeah. I might leave it to Liz to pull it around or push it around.
Push around. No, it's sort of somewhere between a pram and a shopping cart, but it's definitely a pushing around. And what I'm aiming for is anybody who's really rude, backs of their ankles. So sorry, I didn't say that. I did say that. So I will be there. But that's good because it means I can keep my camera in it and things like that, and my packed lunch. Towards the end of the day, we can fill it with plants.
Yes. Exactly. Barb Snyder is asking, I just planted out my cabbage and cauliflower starts. Oh no, apologies. That wasn't a question. She's saying she's just putting out her cabbage and cauliflowers and put up her new insect netting. Love it because I can see everything really easily inside. But there was a question about brassicas because Dwayne has said he's having a horrible time here in California with cabbage butterflies. Yeah.
I think, there are several ways of dealing with them. I work entirely organically without using any sprays. I know there are organic sprays, but to me, if you're giving a caterpillar a tummy ache, that's a really polite way of saying you're killing it.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. So I use a barrier method.
Yeah.
And put netting over it. And then I also plant some cabbages or some sort of brassicas out in the open. And they are effectively sacrifice plants so that the cabbage white and cabbage moth population can carry on. Because I want them there. I want them to reproduce. They are food for so many other types of wildlife. Right down to hedgehogs, bats. What else did we say? Work it out as hedgehogs, bats, frogs, toads. Also, all of those will eat those. And I want all of those wildlife in the garden. And the only way I'm going to get that is to actually allow some of those caterpillars to grow into butterflies and for them to flourish. I'm going to do that without them eating my food. If like me and like Jane Kelly, you don't check very carefully when you put your brassicas into that netting tunnel, you can actually already have caterpillar eggs on there. So then what you're doing is trapping the butterfly. Do you remember that, Jane? When Jane made a really nice little bit of video for me about netting cabbages, and there was a butterfly on the inside, showing very neatly how well the netting works, but from the wrong side.
So you've created your own mini Eden project for butterflies.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's worth checking for the eggs on the very young plants.
Actually, there's interesting question from somebody that I can't particularly well answer. I'm currently in the Caribbean and trying to plant some fresh peas, herbs and tomatoes. Being a novice, it's very exciting. Is there a special fertilizer for the tropics, please?
No, but you need to be planting all of those, I would have thought, in your cooler period. Peas don't like heat, do they? No.
Peas don't. And herbs equally. I think the general, if I was to give general advice that still applies, is think about what you're wanting the plant to produce. So in terms of herbs, you're going to want leafy growth. In terms of tomatoes, you're going to want fruit. And if you look locally in your garden center, if you go with fertilizers that promote
I would
that,
almost suggest making your own.
Yeah, you could.
Because something as simple as to add to tomatoes, you could just chop up a banana, put that into some water, let it sit for a few days, and that will extract.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Enough to just water the soil, not the leaves. If you want leafy greens, you're going to chop up some sort of leafy green.
Yep.
And here we use stinging nettles, but actually any kind of weeds you can chop up, leave in water. 2 to 3 weeks, it's gonna absolutely stink. Don't get it on your hands, but then you need to dilute it, and with the banana one, so you need to dilute it to 1 part fertilizer that you've made to 10 parts water, and then water the soil, not the plant.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. Jane is saying, Niall, I think you should sit on top of the shopping cart and get a free ride when she's not looking. Deal. I'm not too heavy, so I should be easy enough to pull around all day.
Look, perhaps we can get you to lie across it like Superman style.
Oh yeah. If that, put it this way, if I end up in that shopping cart, that's going on Instagram. Ian has asked, could I sow nasturtiums and cosmos together on a dry bank? So nasturtiums, certainly.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, yeah, it depends how dry it is.
Yeah.
Because all plants will need some water. Cosmos are fairly unfussy in terms of where they're going to live. But if it's something that's so free draining and it's very, very sandy, you're going to need to enrich that soil a bit just so it will hold some water.
Yeah.
But the answer to too wet and too dry is add organic matter, add compost of some sort. Yeah.
And I tend to think that nasturtiums and cosmos, bearing in mind you've got a dry bank, is actually quite a good choice.
Yeah.
Like nasturtiums, old adage about how nasturtiums will grow on the sweepings from the potting room floor.
Yeah.
They will grow in almost anything. So, I mean, they're certainly not going to have a problem. And equally, cosmos are so tough. I think they're going to be absolutely fine for you, Ian. I think they're going to be perfect. And I'm going to catch up on the messages again. There's Agnes is saying hello from Iceland.
Hi, Agnes.
Hi, Agnes. Okay, here is a question that I cannot answer, so it's going to go to you. Mark is asking, do hybrid berries like tayberries spread by underground suckers like raspberries do?
Okay, I'm just trying to think what ours did previously. Not in the same way as raspberries. So what's other people's opinion? The way that I spread because I wanted them to spread, was where they almost like a blackberry, where the tips touch the ground. They will then root and do more. But certainly there were more of them at the end than there were at the beginning. So maybe it was oh, sorry, you can't see my actions down there. So where there was one stem, it got bigger and sent out more shoots. But what do other people think? Do others think that they spread with runners?
Yeah, leave a comment if you have experience, and we'll compare notes.
Yeah,
sounds good. So Tony is saying, have I got my walking boots for tomorrow, Niall? Malvern is huge. It is, and I do. I am prepared to be on my feet all day.
I'm taking Willie's, and I'm going to buy croc type clogs while I'm there.
Yeah. JB is saying cabbage white caterpillars are great for birds too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Sweet Fern Homestead is saying, oh no, I didn't even think of that. I'm going to check under my netting ASAP. If you planted your brassicas and you haven't checked under the netting and under the leaves, have a look. It's definitely a good thing.
So on the underside, well, on either side of the leaves, you're looking for either very small white, they're so tiny, little
rugby balls.
Yes. And sometimes they're white and sometimes they're orange, aren't they? So it's worth checking, and they could be on the top or they could be underneath.
Yeah. Coastal Gardens.
Actually, and if you find them, all you need to do is just literally get your thumb and just rub.
Yeah.
So you don't want to bruise the leaf. You're just going to rub them off.
Yeah. Squish them. Barb is saying she put a lot of French marigolds around her brassicas. They're stinky, Although the cabbage moth flew around, it didn't land, stay long, no caterpillars easily. So I quite like the scent of French marigolds. I know not everybody does. And when I say scent, it's more if you brush the leaves, you get them. But if you look at any of my videos from last year, where I'm in the veg garden, you'll see that I have loads of French marigolds planted everywhere because they're a really strong companion plant.
Yeah.
And actually, for me personally, I love them as a companion plant in the veg garden because they don't get too big. And that's the biggest thing, is what I don't want is things growing that are going to throw a lot of shade onto other areas where I want the full sun. So I edge them. And in fact, what I do is I edge alternate French marigolds and chives.
Nice.
Because you get a nice bit of color. You can harvest your chives, and they both work as nice companion planting.
So a polar bear says, should I cut back tulips after they've wilted or leave them to die back naturally?
Leave them to die back naturally every time.
So that instead of creating seeds, the energy is returned back into the bulb, and then leave them to die back, because all the time they're going to be photosynthesizing and producing more nutrients for next year's flower.
Yeah, they're basically like a battery. They've just exerted a whole load of energy to grow, and what you don't want to do is then cut that off and remove that supply. So absolutely deadhead them and keep them growing.
Thanks, Jane, for joining us.
See you, Jane. Oh, and Brampton Gardener, she's been very kind in reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button.
Oh, hiya, Jeff. Hi, Deb.
Oh, hello.
Thank you for quick popping in.
And we've got somebody from Greece.
Lovely. Hello.
And Canada.
You're such a global person, aren't you?
Kind of a big deal.
We've today, haven't we? Hi, Tracy.
Tony's saying he divided Tayberries by dividing the clumps in the past, but never seen any suckers. Okay, so that's quite good for the person that was asking that.
Yeah. So it was Mark was asking that.
Oh yeah. And naturally, JB's saying, also make sure you get netting that will actually stop the butterflies. I've realized mine is big enough to let the butterflies in.
Okay, so JB, what you've bought is bird netting, which will stop birds getting at your fruits, but it won't stop butterflies getting into your brassicas.
Aga, greetings from Scotland. Hello, good evening.
So Barbara's saying, I don't cut back my tulips. I break off the part that contains the seeds. Yeah.
Oh, and Kelly's on, Kelly Laird.
Hello, Kelly.
Hello from California. 3 days till I'm in Ireland. I know you messaged me earlier. Kelly is one of my patrons. And I just, since we're saying that, I do actually have a Patreon page as well, where I've created a little small community, which you're of course welcome to join. It's €3 a month. I try to make it not too expensive. And if you'd like to join, I share regular videos that are patron only. So you get to see a little bit more of me in the garden. They're kind of more raw and uncut. And I also post pictures, and you can join my Instagram close friends group and all sorts of things. So head across to my Patreon. Extras.
So JB or Tony, could you please put up a link to Niall's Patreon page?
Aha, Tony, thank you.
Oh, he was on the ball there.
You are on this, Tony. This is amazing.
So Amarissa saying, I had some amazing wasps that hunted cabbage white.
Ooh.
Cabbage fly caterpillars. Yes, so I think they're called, I'm going to say intarsia wasps. Is that the right word?
Very like it. Yeah, they're parasitic wasps.
Yeah. Is that the right name? Intarsia. This is great. We spent the whole day going, how do we say this? How do you say that? There's been a lot of that today, hasn't there?
We both kind of like Latin names, so we've been comparing pronunciations of Latin names.
Okay, so my sister is not an internet person, and she doesn't watch YouTube, so it's safe to tell you And oh gosh, if anybody knows my sister, please don't tell you I was talking about her. But she pronounces as a purpley blue, and sometimes they're white, like a little bell flower that she calls a campanula, which I think is just so sweet.
Yeah.
It is. So everybody else I know says campanula.
Yes.
Campanula. Well, perhaps we should change it.
I think we should.
Perhaps we should all call it campanula and cotton Easter.
Cotton Easter. Yeah. Actually, okay.
Perhaps we should just take the snobbery out of gardening.
Yeah.
And call them as it's written down.
Yep. We'll give that a go.
I look forward to your videos.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Okay. What I'm thinking, right, is everybody that's on this right now, for the next few minutes, we should have a big gossip amongst ourselves. Write down, if you know one, write it in the comments, a Latin name that you hate being mispronounced. Because we've been comparing notes.
Today, yes. So clematis.
Yeah.
Rather than
clematis.
Yes. We've just had a moment of going, oh, we say that wrong. Or there've been a few things we've said differently.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, have we got that right? Or not got that right?
Choicea and Choisia.
Yes. Oh, what happened then?
Oh, don't know. It skipped. I think we're okay.
Oh, right. Something happened on the screen. So someone's saying it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. Absolutely, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. We're only having fun.
We were having a bit of. We were being silly and childish, weren't we?
Sean is saying, Niall, are you planning on getting chickens? Would love to see that. Thinking of getting some myself. So myself and my partner keep coming back to talking about having chickens or ducks. At the moment, we are both so flat out busy that we need to make sure that we have the time that we can give them the care that they need, and that it's going to be something that we add into our lives that will actually make us happy. It's under consideration, but no guarantees.
There we go, Shana. Hang on. Shana was saying in the Netherlands, we say it like your sister, so they say campanula. So maybe we've been wrong.
No. Oh, no. You see, now this is getting,
So Archie says, are you with Liz or is Liz with you?
Ah.
So Niall's staying at my house for the best part of the week.
Yeah. I'm over
it's not. It's for 4 days.
Yeah,
that is the best part of the week.
Yeah. I'm over at Byther Farm.
Right.
We've had 2 people have asked that they're having trouble getting their carrots to germinate. Right? So their carrot seeds to germinate. Now, I know what I think is the number one reason, and I'm going to defer to Liz and see if I'm right as well. I think the biggest thing when it comes...
Don't assume I would know. Biggest thing? Okay, so I would say there'd be 2 things.
Okay.
One is...
Moisture.
Yep. And that once they've started growing, if they then dry out. So once the seeds have absorbed moisture... to start germinating, if they then dry out, they're not going to absorb the moisture and then grow. So you need to retain the moisture in the soil. So make sure the soil is wet or damp before you sow it, and then cover it either with board or cardboard, or I've even done it with like a triple layer of netting over the top. Just anything that will help keep that moisture in until they've germinated and they're up a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But the other thing is old seed.
Yes.
And I know that people will say that you can sow old seed, but the germination rate is going to reduce as time goes on.
Yeah. And that's fine if you're willing to have a little bit of an experiment with it and see, is it going to work? If, however, you're limited on space and you really need the crop, you need to be thinking about fresh seed. And my biggest thing is I think it's the moisture. And it's funny because people often talk about having difficulty getting carrots and parsnips to germinate, and it comes down to moisture. But my experience has been that applies to almost anything with very, very fine seed, because it's by the nature of how you sow them, is that the finer the seed you're sowing, the more close to the surface it is. So even
more likely to dry out.
Exactly. Things like lettuce seeds as well. So with anything like that, make sure you're keeping the surface moist and that you're not letting them dry out.
I hope that helps.
Kelly's saying we all speak Gardenese.
We do.
I like that.
Yes. There was something above that as well. Oh, I can't do it. Can you scroll up a little bit? Whether we're talking about pronunciation?
Yeah.
Perhaps they were just telling us off for being gardening snobs.
Oh, here we go.
Latin pronunciation is hilarious and painful. Yes.
Archie is saying my nan does the clematis one. No, I
think I do both, but in the same sentence. I think I just kind of flip between one and another.
Yeah.
Not concentrating.
I think the one universal thing when it comes to Latin names is whatever way you say it, you feel is the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Molly's saying ducks. Okay, and if you get chickens, you never need to mow your lawn. No, that's very true.
If you have ducks, you never need to mow your lawn because you'll have no lawn.
You'll have no lawn. They'll dig it up really quickly.
Just turn it into a mud bath. So.
Oh, there's someone else that's saying Xanthodeschia instead of Xanthodecia, the arum lily.
Okay, so do you know what I call it? Xantho.
Yep.
Which is called
Nepeta.
Nepeta. I don't know how you say it. That's what it's called in every video. Nepeta. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
That's a much better way of.
This is good. This is
covering everything.
This is making me feel better. And actually, do you know what? I say Xanthodeschia. Sorry.
Which one should it be?
I would say it's probably Xanthodecia. I think I just say it wrong. Caroline Holland is asking, what are your thoughts on gardening with the cycle of the moon? What I'm going to ask is that either Tony or JB puts up a link to Jane Kelly's channel as well, because Jane has a lovely gardening channel from her allotment, and she has recently taken at least 1 or 2 courses in gardening with the moon.
Yeah.
And she discusses it in some of her most recent episodes, and I think it could be really nice to follow her journey, because I would imagine she's going to be discussing whether she has success in the future.
So Kelly's saying, I have a patient that brings eggs in from her chickens. What a lovely gift.
Gift. That's actually it's really lovely, and it's meaningful. I like it.
So Tony's saying best results he had with carrots was put a couple of propagator tops over the bed to keep the moisture in.
Yep.
He found cardboard robs moisture in really hot weather because it will absorb the moisture from the soil. Yeah.
And Catherine's saying try laying a board on top of the carrot row until they start to germinate. Yeah, 100%.
So Barbara says the wrong version of clematis would be the correct pronunciation in German.
Yeah.
No, so it's just there isn't. Oh, there we go.
Dahlia. Dahlia.
We had that conversation
today. We did.
Which one was it?
I'm going to be honest. I say Dahlia.
I say Dahlia.
Yeah.
But I suspect it is where you've grown up.
Yes, I think that's the thing. Caroline's asking, if older seed manages to germinate, is it likely to produce a weaker plant?
No.
If
I don't think so.
If it gets past your germination stage and you get it to a seedling, it's fair game after that. It's down to the conditions you grow it in.
Anne says, I germinate my carrot seeds in a lunchbox with wet paper, and it works really well.
Oh, that's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping on the carrot topic that my seeds are going to be okay, because I sowed 6 drills of carrot seeds and 2 of parsnips and have now come away for 4 days. So I'm hoping that they're going to be okay.
I did think, we're going away for 2 days and I haven't watered in the polytunnel, and there's lots of stuff in there that is in pots they're so desperate to get in the ground because there's nothing left in the pots.
There might need to be a little bit of watering before we go.
There might be. We might have to get up very, very early. So
Polar Bear is asking a question for you. Will you be doing more videos on your shady garden area by the polytunnel?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I will, but I need to actually do some more in that area to make a video worth watching. So I've kind of got on hold. It's got as far as I've made the pond is in there, the big structural trees are in there, and I've put a hedge. Hedges planted there, and now it's just like in a holding pattern until I do the next bit. What I want to do is, so I have a design for it. It's the one area of the whole homestead that I have actually drawn up a design complete with planting plan of what I want to put in it. So the next step is to actually do the next bit.
And actually, we were talking earlier about the changes that I'd seen here since I was here in November. The shady garden wasn't here.
No,
it wasn't in existence, and it was really lovely to see that.
And it is a really small area, isn't it? It's 15 feet wide at one end. It's 48 feet long, 15 feet wide at one end, 10 feet wide at the other. So it's really not a huge space.
Yeah.
It's even for a town garden, that would be quite a small garden.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that all comes together. I think it's going to be brilliant. Now, I'm having a look at the time, and it's coming up to 9 o'clock, and I don't want to be keeping everybody forever. And seeing as Liz is on the channel, Liz does something really nice towards the end of her live chats, where she puts it out to you guys. If you have a gardening or growing YouTube channel, and you would like to share it with people,
you just need to say, I have a channel.
Exactly.
If you have an Instagram account where you share photos, if you have a place on social media where you share what you're doing, write it in the comments. You're not going to be able to share links. So you need to say, I have a channel, I have an Instagram account.
Yeah.
And then I would actively encourage you to go and have a look at someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a really nice thing to do, because it's an opportunity to share amongst the group. I think it's really nice. And of course, if you haven't already, there are two people that probably won't announce themselves, but it is Tony and JB. Both of them are our moderators this evening, and that comes with a really huge thank you as well, because they've done a brilliant job this evening. So I think this is where we start saying goodbye.
It is. How good are you at switching off? Because I'll talk while you find your way to ending the live stream.
Oh yeah, perfect. No problem. Yeah. This is normally where I end up saying goodbye for 5 minutes. So goodbye, everybody.
He's going to carry on talking. He's going to carry on looking. I'm going to carry on talking and say thank you. Press the button. Thank you so much for joining. Please go and watch some of Niall's videos. Enjoy them. Make loads of comments. Give them lots of thumbs up. I'm really pleased to continue to support his channel. And thank you, everybody, for joining in the live chat, because even now, when I do a live chat, I'm always worried that nobody's going to be turning up. Now, admittedly, earlier on this evening, nobody did turn up because I had it set as private. So I'm glad that you found me. Press that button. But thank you. Bye. See you later. There you go.